There are calls for the federal government to reverse a decision to transfer Terri-Lynne McClintic, who was convicted of killing 8-year-old Tori Stafford, from prison to a healing lodge in Saskatchewan. For reaction now, we're joined live in London, Ontario, by Tori's father, Rodney, and Kara Voisin, who's organizing a protest in Ottawa in November. Thank you both for joining us. Rodney, let's start with you. Did you hear about this when we all did, or was it disclosed to you by the courts, penitentiary, police? Were they obliged to? And what was your reaction at first blush when you heard this news?
Well, everybody had been notified back in December of last year of the move when the transfer had happened, but because of miscommunication and a move and a change of phone number, I had lost contact with Corrections Canada. But then I was notified by my mom that Corrections Canada had been trying to get a hold of me regarding another thing to do with Terri-Lynne. And when I contacted them about a month and a half ago is when I actually found out that the transfer had been made.
Kara, can you tell us about the protests that you've got planned for Parliament Hill November 2nd? And what's your response to the basic fact that the feds say they're hamstrung here? They really can't do anything.
Yep, the protest is going to take place on November 2nd. So we are hoping to have buses leaving all different areas of Ontario at about 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that they can get there on time. And basically, you know what, they say they can't do it, but I was watching on Parliament Hill. I was watching yesterday, and they were talking about other decisions that have been overturned in the past by prime ministers, by the government, and they can do this too.
Rodney,
this can be changed.
Okay. Rodney, restorative justice, let's talk about that. It's all about second chances for non-violent, non-repeat offenders, you know, psychologists and counseling instead of solitary confinement. Rodney, if this wasn't your daughter's case and your daughter's killer, would your feelings be any different?
No, none whatsoever. This is an injustice for everybody. She's a convicted killer. She should be doing her time behind cell walls, not open out on a free range with access to other families.
You know, paying debts to society has always been objective, right? Where do you think, Rodney, I'll ask both of you, where do you guys think her rights end and your rights begin regarding how she is managed through the system after she's sentenced?
Her rights began as soon as she went into the system, and mine ended the day Tori was taken. And it's just unfair. The victims suffer continuously, and things are just relived with every opportunity she's given.
Yep.
The media's drawn often a Karla Homolka kind of quality to McClintic's story. Troubled childhood, under the spell of this abusive, dominating man. Michael Rafferty, the convicted person in Tori's murder. Does this make her any less guilty in your mind, Rodney?
Any less guilty?
Yes.
No. Sure, there's a lot of people have had troubled pasts. It doesn't mean they can just go out and kill somebody and walk away. Like it's. Yeah, like
Well,
it's
she
just,
wielded the hammer, didn't she?
She
was involved in it.
Yeah,
so she was involved in the entire thing. Sorry.
Yes, she was involved in the entire thing, and yeah, it's just not right.
This has been many years for you, Rodney. You've been living on the grief scale for a long time. That depression, then anger, bargaining, denial, and acceptance. They say, you know, time heals wounds. We know that, some of them. But
it does.
Is there any closure or acceptance for you, or is that a myth?
No, I guess you could. Some families do receive a little bit of closure. Some people do have the acceptance and are able to move on with their lives. But when incidents like this happen for no reason, it restirs up old memories and everything, and it just brings back everything back to day one. Like, and there's no need for it. It's not proper.
Are you curious at all as to exactly what the day-to-day life is like for this woman? What's happening for her? And you know, is there any room for curiosity there for you? Any room for mercy and forgiveness in your heart?
You know, like if Terri-Lynne were to have sat in her prison cell and gone through the courses that she's supposed to go through, taken the classes she's supposed to better herself, to rehabilitate herself as she's supposed to, then, you know, down the road, maybe the healing lodge could have been a possibility for her to come back out on the streets. But when she's inside the system and she's still continuing to have engagements with other inmates because dislikes and stuff like that, it just goes to show she's not willing to rehabilitate and change.
Rodney and Kara, I thank you both for your time. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.